May we call on the Honorable Sheikh Abdullah Gayak to lead us in the invocation. And please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem afterwards.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amin ya Rabbal Alamin wa ya mujib as-sa'ilin. Amin amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Allahumma aminna fi makanina hadha wa fi kulli makanin ya Rabb. Allahumma aminna fi makanina hadha wa fi kulli makan. Allahumma hdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. يا أرحم الراحمين ويا مجيب السائلين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا وانصرنا ومن الكافرين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, ewas ng sinangalan. Alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting. Sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil. Sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw. Ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitindig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta. Buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin. Ang
The Secretary General is directed to conduct the roll call to determine the existence of quorum for today's plenary session.
The members of the Parliament, the Honorable Abbas Ahmad, Abbas Harun,
Present.
Abbas Name,
Present.
Abbas Basit Sari, Abu Mujib,
Sir, I'll call again, sir.
Adyong Jawar Rahman Alonto, Ahan Abdullah,
I'll call them po.
Alamia Liza,
Present.
Alauddin Faiz, Ali Ibrahim, Ali Lanan Jr., Ali Dimapag, Alil Cesar,
Present.
ang Bulito Suarto, ang Patuan Baintan, Anayatin Susana, Ismail Muslima, Balindong Ali Pangalian, Barahami Namidudin,
Sa letter M.
Basman Anna
Present.
Tarhata,
Present.
Burahan Abraham,
What's na ako?
Tandao Maymani,
Present po, present.
Tandao
Present.
Malakit Maysara, Tiamba Musa, Di Patuan Saprula, Ibrahim Ahod, Ismail Haji Abdulaziz,
Present.
Wayak Abdullah, Gera Edward, Asim Abdullah, Hasan Atimil,
Present.
Iqbal Moager,
Present.
Ismail Rasul, Jajuri Raisa,
Present.
Jakilan Muslimin,
Present.
Jikiri Al-Baki, Karon Bainon, Lidasan Dato Masulini, Loong Don Mustafa,
Present.
Lorena Jose Iriban, Makako Abduraub, Makapaar Abdullah,
Present.
Makaraya Jamel,
Present.
Makasalong Marjani, Mangunda Dato Kadafe, Mantawil Malik, Mastura Dato Takaw, Mastura City Shahara, Mawali Lamil Bahar, Mitimbang Dato Mitpantaw, Mitmog Rasul, Mujahid Dato Mitpin,
Sige na.
Munyos Hussein, Horanan Suaib,
Present.
Pakasa Mabayde,
Present.
Pak Abdul Wahab, Pangandaman Nabila Margarita,
Present.
Ramos Diamina,
MP Munoz presenta.
Rimbang Sultan Edrisa Nasir, Zakar Madayaw,
Present.
Selendad Said, Sali Al Said, Saliga Romeo, Salik Ali, Sangki Ali, Sani Punduma, Satar Alizad,
Present.
Sema Omar Reser, Sema Romeo, Sheikh Said,
Present.
Silongan Aida, Sulaiman Ali, Tago Paisali,
Present.
An Nabil, Uja Sahib, Ulama Milanya, Usman Akbar, Jacob Muhammad, UAK Narciso,
Assalamualaikum, present, present.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Speaker, with 20 members of the Parliament physically responded to the call, 37 responded via Zoom. We have a total of 57 members of the Parliament responded both physical and virtual. We therefore certify, Mr. Speaker, the presence of quorum. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
With 57 members of the BTA Parliament physically and virtually present, and with the certification of the Secretary General as to the existence of a quorum, this BTA plenary session is called to order. Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. With due respect to my Speaker, Pangalian na Libalindong, my colleagues in the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, and of course our presiding officer, Omar Yasser Sima. Before we begin with the order of business, Mr. Speaker, the agenda in the order of business, may I move, Mr. Speaker, that we approve the agenda in the order of business, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I move to amend the proposed order of business, Mr. Speaker, to include the awarding of the certificate to Dr. Nasib, which we have adopted yesterday.
There is a motion to amend the order of business.
The amendments is the amendment of the gentle lady, Mr. Speaker, is from after the approval of the reading, then her amendments will follow. The awarding or in the other matters, Mr. Speaker. When
Mr.
we will
Speaker.
place the amendments, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I guess we should do it on the early part so that it will be done. If we wait for the other matters, it may come the next month.
So it will be done after the approval of the journal.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the clarification.
There is a motion to amend the order of business to include in item number 7 the awarding of the plaque, the resolution recognizing Dr. Nasif Adyong's feats. Is there any second? It has been seconded. There being no objection, the order of business is amended.
Thank
Majority
you,
Floor
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker. So we will follow the agenda for today's session, Mr. Speaker, as amended. On number 6 in our agenda is the reading and approval of the journal of the previous session. I move, Mr. Speaker, to dispense with the reading and further move for the approval of the journal of the previous session, which is February 24, 2021, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal of the previous session and for the approval of the same.
Mr.
Yes.
Speaker,
Yes. Is there any motion? Is there any second? It has been seconded. The reading of the journal of the previous session is dispensed with, and likewise it has been approved.
yes, Mr. Speaker, before we go to the next agenda, Mr. Speaker, I noticed that our journal is still February 24, 2021.
Yes.
It is a very long gap from February to November. So the Secretariat, please take note of this. I do hope that we can have an updated journal of
The
session.
Secretariat is directed to take note of the observation of the majority floor of the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next in our order of business is the
Awarding.
amendment of MP Bayintan of the province of Maguindanao.
We are now yes. We
The
are now
lady from the province of Maguindanao, MP Engineer Bayintan is request, Mr. Speaker.
the lady from Maguindanao is recognized. If you have anything to say or what about this?
Yeah, if Mr. Speaker, if we can do the ceremony right now,
Okay.
if Dr. Nasib Madabilang Adjong is around. Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
is Dr. Nasip Manabilang Adjong, he is within the premises
Yeah,
of the
Mr. Speaker,
Parliament.
can we do the ceremony,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker?
The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the resolution recognizing the feats and achievements of Dr. Nasip Manabilang Adyong. And may I request the floor leaders, the deputy majority floor leader, the two deputy minority floor leaders who are around to please assist me in presenting to Dr. Nasip Manabilang Adyong the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Republic of the Philippines, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, Bangsamoro Parliament, Bangsamoro Government Center, Cotabato City. Third regular session. Resolution number 194. Resolution recognizing and commending the honors and distinctions received by Dr. Nasip Manabilang Adyong as an inspiration for the entire Bangsamoro young populace. Principally authored by the members of the Parliament, Baintan A. Ampatuan, Ali Pangalian Balindong, Omar Yasir Sema, Amil Bahar Mawalil, Liza M. Adamia, and Rasul Y. Mitmog Jr. Co-authors by the members of the Parliament, Don Mustafa A. Luong, Suharto M. Ambulutu, Rasul E. Ismail, Romeo C. Saliga, Idi M. Ali, Abdullah B. Hashim, Zairahman Alonto Adyong, Maysara C. Dandamun Latif, Hatimil E. Asan, Abdullah G. Makapaar, Narciso C. U. AK, Musa K. S. Jamla, Milanio U. Ulama, Ali O. Sadik, Ahmad I. Abbas, Cesar H. Adib, Mussolini S. Lidasan, Abdul Muhmin Mujahid, Shahi S. Uja, Bainon J. Caron, Muslima A. Asmawil, Aida M. Silungan, and Susana S. Anayatin. The resolution is adopted on Rabi Al-Akhir 19, 1443, corresponding to November 24, 2021. Certified correct, Rabi B. Angkal, Secretary General. Attested, Attorney Ali Pangalian Balindong, Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, to pave the way for the presentation of the raid resolution, I move to suspend the session in a few minutes for the presentation of
Session
the
is suspended for 5 minutes.
Inshallah.
Session resumed. Majority floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next in the agenda in our order of business is the privilege, resolution, proposed resolution 568.
568.
proposed resolution number 568. May I request the Secretariat to read the proposed resolution, the opposite resolution?
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of the first proposed resolution, including the name of the authors and co-authors.
Proposed resolution number 568. Resolution expressing the deepest condolences and profound sympathy of the Bangsamoro Parliament to the bereaved family of former Provincial Environment and Natural Resources Officer, Engineer P. Palawan Onaga, authored by MP Maysara Dilatif.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Mr. Speaker, permission to recognize the woman from the province of Lanao del Sur, MP Maysara Dilatif.
What is the pleasure of MP Maysara Latif?
may I read my sponsorship explanatory note, Mr. Speaker?
Can we do that later?
Yes.
I think that should
Yes.
be later when we reach the business for the day.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we can transfer it. First, Mr. Speaker, we will treat this as a simple resolution. After treat, if the body will approve it as a simple resolution, we will move it to the business for the day, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
So
Mr.
is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Mr. Speaker, I move that the resolution that was read by the Secretariat be treated as a simple resolution.
Second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to treat proposed resolution number 568 as a simple resolution be transferred to the business for the day. There in a second. It's been seconded. There being no objection, proposed resolution number 568 is now transferred to the business for the day.
In the next agenda in our order of business, Mr. Speaker, is the privilege hour. There is someone, Mr. Speaker, may we recognize the gentleman from Maguindanao, Member of Parliament, Ahmad I. Abbas, to deliver this to a bill of the privilege hour, Mr.
The
MP
gentleman from Pagalungan, Maguindanao, is recognized. Can somebody please turn on the microphone of MP Abbas?
Majority Poll Leader Attorney Lang Ali Journal, Minority Poll Leader Attorney Laisa Alamia, Secretary General Professor Rabi Angkal, to all members of BBT Parliament, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I stand before you this afternoon as my privilege speech, and I'm hoping this can contribute to our quest for desire and supporting the improvement program of the Chief Minister Ahud Balawat Ibrahim. Alhamdulillah. Sukur to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this government, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, and the Bangsamoro Organic Law, its constitution. But before we start to work as BT Parliament, the Chief Minister programmed us to swear before the Quran, and all of us done the swearing. The intention of the Chief Minister here was to strengthen our unity, sincerity, and to work hard, not only BT of the MLF, not only BT of the GPH, not only BT of the MNLA, but all of us are BT of the entire Bangsamoro people, all Christian brothers and Romat. Now we have many projects started, and we believe that this can be finished because the Bangsamoro Transition Authority was extended to 2025. This means a continuation of the implementation of all projects intended here in the Bangsamoro homeland. Mr. Speaker, aside from the project started, we also believe that many other projects to be implemented in the Barn area. In line with this, I suggest, firstly, the construction of mini madrasa, school building, another educational institution, so that our children, men and women, can go to school easily. Education is the foundation of building the new generation. I remind you all that the hardcore or the core group of our stagger jihad was already passed away. Namely, Ustad Salamat Hashim, Allahu Yarhamu, founder of jihad, and chairman of the Moro Liberation Front. Ustad Abdul Aziz Mimbantas, vice chairman for military affairs of the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces, MILF. Ghazali Jafar, vice chairman for political affairs, long-time chairman of the MILF panel, and chairman of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission. Ustad Helmi Endigay, former chairman of the Supreme Court of the MILF. Ustad Ismail Jamil, chairman of the East Cotabato Regional Committee, and Ustad Abu Halil Yahya, chairman of Dawa Central Committee, MILF. Ustad Omar Pasigan, chairman of Dalor EFTA. The so-called Big Five. One is Sami Muntasher, Sabri Bashir, Abu Bakar Gayak, Muhammad Asraf, Ustad Mujahid Ahmad, and MP Ustad Zainuddin Bato, the chairman of Magyar Sora. Many other senior officers of our struggle also passed away. This means that some days our children, men and women, will take over the affair of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. Alhamdulillah. So at that time, we hope that what we gain now will be maintained. My second suggestion, the Barn government will establish measure or action to be placed in all provinces, cities, municipalities against the entry of the illegal drug. We are penetrated. We are now victims of this illegal drug shabu. And if we cannot stop this after 10 years, only few remain normal physically and mentally. So what's important there is to prevent the entry of the illegal drugs or the drug lord. Because if there is no drug lord, there is no drug possessor. And if there is no drug possessor, there is no drug user. In our area in the Eastern Mindanao front, we took action against this and we built or constructed the Eastern Mindanao Reformatory Center with a capacity of 40 to 80 men. What we did here is every month we give 2 days that our ustads teach them all about Islam so that they cannot anymore do the same mistake. We also give 1 day that our medical troops will monitor or check up the health condition and the reformatory center. The problem now we're confronting right now is the drug road continue to penetrate, but not in our area. So we cannot move this because it is in the area of another point. So in order to shape the future of our young generation, I suggest again that the Bam government will take appropriate action on this. My last suggestion is particularly in Piquet Municipality. The problem here in Piquet Municipality, when flood or even heavy rains, the water here have no outlet. So what happened? The mosque there, or the Mahad Mindanao, and many other residents of that area was affected because of the overflow of this water. You can see this in the right side of the road going to Piquet Municipality, Piquet Poblacion. So I hope that the Bang government will give immediate action on this. Mr. Speaker, that ends my privileged speech. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you. The gentleman from Pagalungan, Maguindanao.
Mr. Speaker, I move, Mr. Speaker, that said privilege speech be part of the record of this to decision and for future reference, Mr. Speaker. And the same, Mr. Speaker, further move, Mr. Speaker, that the said privilege speech be referred to the committee on rules for so that it can be, if it is necessary, it can be referred to the proper committee, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to include the privileged speech of the gentleman from Maguindao into the records of today's session, and that it be referred
To the committee
to
on
the
rules.
Committee on Rules for proper action.
Yes, thank you.
Is there any second? There being no objection, the motion is approved. The Secretariat is directed to take note of the motion of the floor leader.
Mr. Speaker, next in our agenda in the order of business is first stage of bills. The first stage of bills is PTA Parliament Bill number 146. May I request the Secretariat to read PTA Bill number 146.
The Secretary General is so ordered.
BTA Parliament Bill number 146, an act providing for the Bangsamoro Code of Muslim Personal Laws, authored by MP Hamid Aminuddin Dibara.
Floor leader.
Since there is only a first stage of bills, we will go to the next agenda, Mr. Speaker, second stage of bills. The second stage of bills is PTA Parliament Bill number 118. Mr. Speaker, may I request the Secretariat to read the title of the aforesaid bill, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary is directed to read the title of BTA Parliament Bill number 118.
BTA Parliament Bill number 118, an act constructing and establishing the Datu-Blati Sinsuat Municipal Hospital at the Municipality of Datu-Blati Sinsuat, Maguindanao Province, BAR, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Principally authored by MPs Zulkarnain Abbas and Baintan Ampantuan, and co-authored by MPs Maysara D. Latif, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Faisalin P. Tago, Rasul E. Ismael, Jose I. Lorena, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Alsad T. Satar, Haji Abdulaziz M. Ismael, Eddie M. Ali, Musa K. Jamla, Cesar H. Alil, Narciso C. Uite, Bainon J. Caron, Susana S. Anayatin, Don Mustafa A. Loong, Baymaleha B. Candao, Haron M. Abbas, Jamel D. Macaraya, Ali B. Sangki, and Ali O. Salik.
Mr. Speaker, since this is a second stage bills, may I request the principal author for a sponsorship speech.
Mr. Speaker.
Who is
The
the
principal
principal-
author
who
is Zulkarnain Abbas and MP Ampantuan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pinag-usapan po natin yung pagpapalakas at pag-standardize ng mga hospital na mayroon na tayo. Subalit, Mr. Speaker, sa pagkakataong ito, merong mga areas, critical areas and hard to reach areas like in the island, like areas with island portions. In the case of Dato-Blati Sinsuat, wala po siyang hospital ngayon kung kaya ang panukalang batas na ito ay mag-establish or magpapatayo ng isang hospital sa municipality ng Dato-Blati Sinsuat, Maguindanao Province. At ito po ay pinapanukala na at least 10 to 15 bed capacity, Mr. Speaker. Ito po ay isang napakahalagang panukala para po maserbisyuhan natin yung mga IPs na constituency ng Bangsamoro government, ating mga kapatid na
the Deputy Minister of Health is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Speaker, herein represented by the able Member of Parliament, Deputy Speaker Sema, Deputy Speakers, Majority Floor Leader, the Minority Floor Leader, fellow members of the Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good afternoon. The BARM government, through the Ministry of Health, has reformulated the BARM Health Agenda to provide focus on improving access to responsive healthcare system. This is apparent in the development plans crafted by the Bangsamoro government, as well as the pronouncements made by the Honorable Chief Minister pronouncing health services as one of the Bangsamoro government's top priority. The redirection focusing on health services underscores the idea of improving hospital services to increase the availability of quality individual-based health services in rural, remote, and underserved areas of the region. One of the said rural or underserved areas is the municipality of Dato-Blati Sinsuat in Maguindanao. As of this moment, there is no hospital in the said municipality, nor in the nearby municipalities, and for decades, this has been the case. The nearest hospital in the area is in the city of Cotabato, which is more than an hour's ride, or Dato-Udin Sinsuat, or to Upi. But sad to note, this problem has been persistent for decades. At the time of the defunct ARMM, the municipality of Dato-Blati Sinsuat is a non-ERA municipality and is considered a JIDA municipality, since at that time, the municipality can be reached by boat. It is just recently that the municipality was granted opportunities. Still, the lack of a hospital in the vicinity remains as one of the primary problems in the municipality and its nearby municipalities. We have seen many outbreaks of diarrhea in this municipality in the past. In fact, in 2019, there was an outbreak of E. coli in the said municipality. There was no hospital in the municipality and its vicinities in which to bring the patients to. As a result, patients were transported to far-flung CRMC. The same can be said about pregnant mothers needing hospitalizations and other patients. Now, with the advent of the Bangsamoro government, we have the opportunity to address this long-standing problem, and so we ask this august body to consider this bill for the welfare of our brothers and sisters in the said coastal municipality. Inshallah, this municipal hospital will not only cater to the municipality of Dato-Blati Sinsuat, but also its nearby municipalities of Dato-Udin Sinsuat and the coastal areas of Libak and other coastal areas. Our government, through the Ministry of Health, is in the process of building health infrastructures, especially the hospitals, for the number of our hospitals are lagging far behind its counterparts in other regions. Thus, it is with hope and prayer that we push for the adoption of this landmark legislation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Secretariat, please take note of the two sponsorship speech to be included in the journal of today's session.
Mr. Speaker, in view of the sponsorship speech, Mr. Speaker, I move, Mr. Speaker, the said bill, Parliamentary Bill number 118, be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on
Public Works.
Finance, Budget and
And
Management,
Public Works, yeah.
and the Public Works and Highways.
There is
There
a
are
motion.
3 committees.
There is a motion to refer proposed Parliament Bill number 118 to the Committee on Health, Public Works, and Finance, Budget, and Management. Is there any second? There being no objection, the BTA Parliament Bill number 118 is referred to the said committees.
Next in our agenda, Mr. Speaker, still under second stage of bills, BTA Bill number 147. The Secretariat is directed to read the said bill.
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of BTA Parliament Bill number 147.
BTA Parliament Bill number 147, an act creating the Bangsamoro Council for Mental Health, providing for its mandate, powers, and functions, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Principally authored by MP Rasol Y. Mitmug Jr. and co-authored by MPs Liza M. Alamia, Suharto M. Ambuludto, Baintan A. Ampatuan, Don Mustafa A. Loong, Rasul E. Ismail, Amil Bahar S. Mawalid, Maysara D. Latif, Narciso C. Uike, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Melanio U. Ulama, Faiz S. Alaudin, Alzad Tisatar, Nabila Margarita P. Pangandaman, Abdullah G. Makapaat, Mujib C. Abu, Musa K.S. Jamla, Hussein P. Munoz, Harun M. Abbas, Susana S. Anayatin, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Safrula M. Dipatuan, Romeo C. Saliga, Aida M. Silongan, Abdulaziz M. Ismail, and Muslima A. Asmawin.
Mr. Speaker, the said bill is moved to be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management.
There is a motion to refer BTA Parliament Bill number 14. I think there should be.
147.
How about the sponsorship?
Yes, there is a sponsorship speech.
Maybe we do the referral rate later.
Later.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, thank you, Majority Floor Leader. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, honorable members of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, ladies and gentlemen, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. We are pleased that the bill, Bangsamoro Mental Health Act of 2021, has now entered the second reading. We thank the members of the Parliament who co-authored with us in this measure. Mental health is as important as physiological health. This statement more than ever reflects the challenges that we encounter as we face this pandemic. Mental health is a rapidly growing concern, and we are giving attention to this matter as we address various health needs of our communities in the Bangsamoro. Daily, we struggle with stress and anxiety, which make mental health concern a serious matter. Stigma on mental health illness should never be a hindrance in responding to this critical crisis. Remember that in these uncertain moments, to be kind to yourself, to be kind to your mind. But what does it really mean? Mr. Speaker, we sponsor this bill because all sectors, including employees, students, people living alone, and those with pre-existing mental health conditions, have been particularly affected by the pandemic. Such effect has been magnified for those with pre-existing mental health issues. They have suffered more because of the disruption to their access in medication. Mr. Speaker, when the pandemic broke, this representation, together with the Health Organization for Mindanao, created an online platform which aims to respond to the common mental health needs of communities. Modules and materials have been improved to focus more on Islamic mental health and are readily available on the IMH website and on Facebook page. When asked about our motivation for giving attention to mental health, we recount our local experiences during the Yolanda disaster, the Marawi conflict, and the Mamasapano encounter. The communities directly affected by this crisis experienced depressive symptoms and other mental health concerns, but less attention was given to that matter. Taking care of mental health can easily be overlooked. Hence, effort concerning mental health in the region should be initiated and supported. While challenges on mental health is growing health concern in the region, it is timely that the Bangsamoro region is still on its transition period. Thus, codes are being drafted. Particularly, measures on mental health can still be incorporated by the BTA members, which can safeguard the general welfare of BARM constituencies should another pandemic and even other forms of disaster affecting mental health arises. Mental health care should be a reality, hence the very essence of this bill. During the World Health Assembly in May 2021, governments around the world recognized the needs to scale up quality mental health services at all levels. And some countries have provided new ways of providing mental health care to their populations. Our new normal entails a lot of adjustment in our lifestyle, our work schedules, and our children's schooling. But our new normal should also include major improvements in our public health system and policies, and in how we protect our health, both body and mind. As autonomous government, it is thus proper for the Bangsamoro region to establish its own Bangsamoro Council for Mental Health, which will be responsible for recommending programs, projects, policies for the mental health and well-being of the Bangsamoro people. As the region's interagency body on mental health, they will be better capacitated to implement the recommendations mentioned earlier. We also call for educational institutions to adopt a social, emotional, and ethical learning approach that integrates the trauma-informed approach as approach increases, and as disasters are expected to increase even more given the worrisome climate change. In view of the foregoing, the support of all members of the Parliament for the prompt passage of this measure is earnestly sought. Thank you, my dear colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minority Floor Leader Ras.
We will now resolve the motion.
Yes, I move, Mr. Speaker, that the said resolution parliamentary bill number 147 be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management.
There's a motion to refer BTA Parliament Bill number 147 to the Committee on Health and Finance, Budget and Management. Is there any second? There being no objection, the said bill is referred to the said committees.
Next in our agenda, Mr. Speaker, is BTA Parliament Bill number 148. The Secretariat is directed to read the aforesaid bill.
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of the BTA Parliament Bill number 148.
BTA Parliament Bill number 148. An act upgrading the existing South UP Municipal Hospital in Maguindanao from 10 into 25 bed capacity, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Principally authored by MP Romeo C. Saliga, co-authored by MPs Rasul Ismail, Susana S. Anayatin, Narciso C. Uike, Maysara D. Latif, Safrula M. Dipatuan, Hussein P. Munoz, Said M. Said, Musa K. S. Jamla, Haron M. Abbas, Jose I. Lorena, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Ibrahim D. Ali, Melanio U. Ulama, Eddie M. Ali, Romeo K. Sema, Baintan E. Ampatuan, Bainon J. Caron, Jamila D. Ramos, Aida M. Silungan, and Rasul Y. Mitmug Jr.
Mr. Speaker, more permission to recognize the principal author of the aforesaid bill, MP Romeo Saliga, our IP's representative in the Parliament, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable gentleman from the Dato Blasin Swat is recognized.
Thank you. My high regard to the Honorable Speaker of the Parliament, the majority and minority floor leaders, to all of the members of the Honorable Parliament, and those in attendance either physically or virtually in today's session. Pio Tamagan, good afternoon. It is a great honor and privilege for me to sponsor this proposed BTA Parliament Bill number 148, which seeks your kind approval to upgrade South UP Municipal Hospital from its present 10-bed capacity into a licensed or authorized 25-bed capacity, in accordance with the national standard set by the Bureau of Health Facilities and Services under the Department of Health. Republic Act number 6923, dated March 1990, established South UP Municipal Hospital as 10-bed capacity hospital. It is the only hospital in the municipality of South UP, Maguindanao. Majority of its clientels are indigenous peoples belonging to the Tuduray, Lambangian, and Manubo-Dulangan tribes from nearby areas of Maguindanao and even as far as Sultan Kudarat province, who prefer to be admitted in the facility. The next referral hospital is at Cotabato City Regional, Cotabato Regional and Medical Center, CRMC, which is 63 kilometers away and about 2 to 3 hours ride, Mr. Speaker. Based on its 5 years hospital statistical report, that's from 2016 to 2020, the bed occupancy rate of South UP Municipal Hospital, a level is at 200 to 361.67 averaging 20 to 36 patients per day. With these statistics, there was overcrowding of patients and more workload on the personnel, contributing to mental and physical exhaustion of hospital personnel. This year, 2021, the regulations, licensing and enforcement cluster of the Ministry of Health, BAR, an accreditation body issued the hospital a level 1 or 25-bed license because it was able to meet the standards or requirements for such accreditation. However, it needs legal basis for the increase in the authorized bed capacity for the corresponding increase in budget allocation and increase in human resources. Hence, this proposed act or bill. For the reason of these statements, allow me to present. So I have here the document, Mr. Speaker, to be handed over to the Secretariat later. To present and submit relevant documents and data to this Honorable Parliament to support this aspiration. It is a policy of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao as provided under Section 22, Article 9 of RA 11054, otherwise known as the Organic Law of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, to provide for a comprehensive and integrated health service delivery for its constituents, and established by law a general hospital system to serve the health requirements of its people and ensure that individuals' basic rights to life shall be attainable through the prompt intervention of excellent and affordable medical services. My dear colleagues, it is morally appropriate and necessary that this act be approved by this Honorable Parliament in response to the current COVID-19 pandemic and the growing number of patients who seek for medical attention or intervention from South UP municipal hospitals. No less than the Chief of Hospitals, Dr. Esther Petilo and the head nurse Elizabeth Gagara have approached this representation, appealing for our intervention to the plight. I, as representative of the non-Moro indigenous peoples to this honorable parliament, humbly plea for your support and approval to this bill. Fiobagi, Brabmuyag, and I also express my gratitude to all those who expressed as co-author to this bill, including MP Rimbang, who have approached me just before I stand responsible, and MP Mujahid. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and maraming salamat.
Floor leader.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. In view of the privileged speech of our gentleman from Maguindanao, I move, Mr. Speaker, that Parliamentary Bill number 148 be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management.
There's a motion to refer PTA Parliament Bill number 148 to the Committee on Health and Committee on Finance, Budget and Management. Is there any second? There being no objection, proposed bill PTA Parliament Bill number 148 is referred to the said committees.
Mr. Speaker, still on the second stage of bills, BTA Parliament Bill number 150. The Secretariat is directed to read the bill and its authors.
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of BTA Parliament Bill number 150.
BTA Parliament Bill number 150, an act establishing and constructing a Bangsamoro Medical School in Cotabato City, to be known as Bangsamoro Medical School. The principal author is MP Susana Sanayatin, and the co-authors are MPs Abdul Rauf M. Makakua, Paisalin Pitago, Baintan M. Patuan, Eddie M. Ali, Rasol Y. Mitmung Jr., Ziaw Rahman Alonto Adjong, Don Mustafa Ilong, Mussolini S. Didasan, Bainon G. Caron, Hatimil I. Hasan, Romeo C. Saliga, Alsad T. Satar, Edrisa H. N. Rimbang, Muslima A. Asmawil, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Aida M. Silongan, Narciso C. Yuike, Mujib C. Abu, Ajfar S. Usman, Ibrahim D. Ali, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Kadapeji Magudadato, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Musa K. S. Jamla, Said Z. Salandag, Romeo K. Sema, Ali O. Salik, Cesar H. Alil, Abdullah B. Hasim, Marjani S. Makasalong, Hamid Aminuddin D. Bara, Basit S. Abbas, Mudayaw M. Sakar, Harun M. Abbas, Abdulaziz M. Ismail, and Aida M. Silongan.
Mr. Speaker, we please recognize MP Susana Yatin for his sponsorship speech.
The lady from Datuudin Sinswat is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues in this August chamber, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum. As the sponsor of this proposed Parliament Bill number 150, or an act establishing and constructing a Bangsamoro Medical School in Cotabato City, to be known as Bangsamoro Medical School, I stand before you today requesting for your support for the passing and approval of this bill. The Parliament body have approved several bills establishing numerous hospitals in the region, adopted health standards, and upgraded facilities of existing hospitals pursuant to the policy on health of the Bangsamoro government. Mr. Speaker, the upgrading of hospitals and facilities would mean additional professional medical staff like doctors, nurses, midwives, medtech, and all other allied health professionals, an increase in medical personnel in charge of highly technical equipment and facilities. To complement the upgrading of hospitals and facilities, this representation proposes this bill to prevent and avoid future depletion to the numbers of medical practitioners and health workers throughout the region. The Mindanao State University College of Medicine, located in Iligan City, is the only government medical school in Mindanao. Therefore, I opine that it is high time for this government to establish another medical school to cater aspiring medical students and to produce more medical practitioners to mobilize the implementation of the policy on health of the Bangsamoro government. The proposed bill number 150 aims to provide competent medical practitioners for the underserved medically depressed areas in BARM region, as well as to provide opportunities for tribe people of the BARM, including poor but deserving students of neighboring regions, to become doctors of medicine and serve the areas from which they originate. This proposed bill number 150, if passed and approved, will become the pride of the Bangsamoro government and of this parliament that, in addition to all other important laws, we had also passed, established, and implemented a law that would help Bangsamoro young people to be motivated and be inspired to pursue affordable medical education. Mr. Speaker, considering that we're experiencing pandemic, aspiring medical students of different areas in the region may be contemplating as to the risks and the cost to pursue education in faraway cities. This bill is their hope because this bill seeks to aid the desire of the Bangsamoro to an affordable medical education. This proposed bill number 150 is reflective of the aspiration of the Bangsamoro government written in Republic Act number 11054, otherwise known as Bangsamoro Organic Law, to a self-determination and self-governance. To establish medical school in BARM signifies the capacity of the Bangsamoro government to address the needs of the capacity of the Bangsamoro government to its people in education and to produce medical practitioners which will be of great help and important not only to the society as a whole, but most especially to our own region. In passing, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank all the co-authors, including Dr. Amiril S. Guzman, the Ministry of Health Director General, who inspired and motivated me to sponsor this bill. Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues of this prestigious chamber, may you find it in your heart to allow the passage and approval of this bill for the greater future of our young Bangsamoro people aspiring for affordable medical education. Thank you and wassalam.
Floor leader.
Mr. Speaker, may I move that Parliament Bill number 150 be referred to the Committee on Basic, Higher and Technical Education and to the Committee on Health, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion to refer BTA Parliament Bill number 150 to to the Committee on Basic Higher and Technical Education and the Committee
Committee
on
on
Health. There in a second. There being no objection, BTA Parliament Bill number 150 is referred to the said committees.
Mr. Speaker, next is BTA Parliament Bill number 152. Secretariat, please read the title of the said bill.
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of BTA Parliament Bill number 152.
BTA Parliament Bill number 152. An act establishing drug abuse treatment and rehabilitation centers in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. The principal authors are MPs Zulkarnain M. Abbas, Maysara D. Latif, and Ziaur Rahman Alonto Adjo. And the co-authors are MPs Narciso C. Yuipi, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Safrula M. Dipatuan, Nabila Margarita P. Pangandaman, Hussein P. Munoz, Abdullah G. Makapaar, Faiz S. Alauddin, Said M. Sheikh, Musa K. S. Jamla, Aaron M. Abbas, Abdullah E. Gayab, Siti Sahara I. Mastura, Ibrahim D. Ali, Melanio U. Ulama, Eddie M. Ali, Asfar Eds Usman, Romeo K. Sema, Baintan Adil Ampatuan, Bainon G. Caron, Susana S. Anayatin, Jamila D. Ramos, Aida M. Silongan, and Muslima A. Asmawil.
Majority Floor Leader.
The principal author of the said bill, Mr. Speaker, is recognized for his sponsorship speech, Mr. Speaker.
The Minister of Health.
Abbas.
The Minister of Health is online.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Am I recognized, Mr. Speaker? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Speaker, herein represented by the able Member of Parliament, MP Attorney Omar Yasser Sema, Deputy Speakers, Majority Floor Leader, the Minority Floor Leader, fellow members of the Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good afternoon. It is my pleasure to author this landmark legislation together with my co-authors, for this legislation addresses one of the necessities of the Bangsamoro region, the lack of drug rehabilitation and treatment centers. Drug addiction or drug abuse remains as one of the persistent problems facing the Philippine society, and our region is not being spared. Available data has shown that there are some 33,000 illegal drug users and pushers in the Bangsamoro region. Though the fight against drug abuse involves many agencies and offices and many strategies, one of the key interventions in addressing this problem is through treatment and rehabilitation. Sadly, we have drug treatment and rehabilitation centers in the region. It is high time that we establish this. Section 22, Article 9 of Republic Act number 11054, otherwise known as the Bangsamoro Organic Law, states that one of the mandates of the Bangsamoro government is to provide for a comprehensive and integrated health service delivery for its constituents and establish by law a general hospital system to serve the health requirements of its people and ensure that the individual basic right to life shall be attainable through the prompt intervention of excellent and affordable medical services. Thus, the need for this important health institution cannot be understated. And so, we ask this august body to approve and pass this very important legislation. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Salam. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the said Parliament Bill number 152 is, I move, Mr. Speaker, be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management.
There's a motion to refer BTA Parliament Bill number 152 to the Committee on Health and to the Committee on Finance.
Budget and Management.
Finance, Budget and Management. Is there any second? There being no objection, BTA Parliament Bill number 152 is referred to the said committees.
Next, Mr. Speaker, is BTA Bill number 157. The Secretariat is directed to read the proposed bill.
The Secretariat is directed to read the title of BTA Parliament Bill number 157.
BTA Parliament Bill number 157, an act ordaining the promotion of social enterprises in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, establishing for the purpose the Bangsamoro Resilient, Inclusive Social Enterprises for Peace and Sustainable Development Program, providing incentives, benefits, and appropriations therefore. Principally authored by MP Maysara D. Latif and co-authored by MPs Suharto M. Mambuludto, Eddie M. Ali, Susana S. Anayatin, Jamila D. Ramos, Marjani S. Makasalong, Abdullah A. Ahang, Basit A. Abbas, Abdullah G. Makapaar, Alsad T. Satar, Narciso C. Uike, Musa K. S. Jamla, Melanio U. Ulama, Ali O. Salih, Ahmad I. Abbas, Cesar H. Alil, Abdullah B. Hasim, Faisalin P. Tago, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Baintan A. Ampatuan, Abdulaziz M. Ismail, Sahi S. Uja, Ibrahim D. Ali, Muslima A. Asmawil, Aida M. Silongan, and Siti Sahara I. Mastura.
Mr. Speaker, permission to recognize the principal author of the said bill. Mr. Speaker, MP Maysardan Damandati.
The author, the lady from Tugaya, Lanao del Sur, is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, members of the Parliament, colleagues, guests present here today. It is enshrined in our Constitution to promote a just and dynamic social order that will ensure prosperity and independence of a nation and free the people from poverty through policies that provide adequate social services, promote full employment, a rising standard of living, and an improved quality of life for all. Article 12, Section 1 of the Constitution states, the goals of national economy are a more equitable distribution of opportunities of income and wealth, a sustained increase in the amount of goods and services produced by the nation for the benefit of the people, and an expanding productivity as the key to rising quality of life for all, especially the underprivileged. Bringing it closer to home, to our home, the organic law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, Muslim Mindanao, holds social justice as a general precept. As such, the Bangsamoro government is required that every Filipino citizen in its territorial jurisdiction enjoys the provision of the basic necessities and equal opportunities in life. The Bangsamoro government shall promote the effective use of economic resources and endeavor to attain economic development that facilitates growth and full employment, human development, and social justice. As part of its vision to regional autonomy and patrimony, Article 5, Section 2, Paragraph K of the Bangsamoro Organic Law states that the Bangsamoro government shall exercise its authority over matters on social enterprises. Social enterprise are deemed part of the road to regional autonomy and patrimony. This is an opportunity that could provide sustainable and important changes in our economy and poverty reduction among disadvantaged sectors in the region, particularly in the period of recovery from COVID-19 and internal conflicts. What are social enterprises? Social enterprises refer to social mission-driven organizations with specific objectives that serves its primary purpose by maximizing profits, while maximizing benefits to society, business with social purpose, and the environment to fund its social programs. However organized, this can be stocks or non-stock corporations, sole proprietorships, partnerships, or even cooperatives. But they are reinvesting their profits to the social and environmental missions or for the stakeholders they support, usually the poor and marginalized, what we call the triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. This concept or model is intrinsic to all of us as Muslims. Islam encourages entrepreneurship as an integral part of our faith. Muslims are Khalifa and agents of trust of Allah who are responsible for generating prosperity and consider that doing business is a part of ibadah or good deed. To be successful in doing business, the most important thing is to be useful as possible for the society and to live ethically in accordance with the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran. However, to this day, while we are in need of such organizations, they are treated as traditional businesses, experiencing disincentives as a result of an unfavorable policy environment. Government does not adequately recognize the social value of social enterprises. Without tailored support and without mainstreaming in the economy and in our poverty reduction and peace efforts, social enterprises will experience challenges in scaling their growth and their social impact. Thus, the Bangsamoro Social Enterprise Act of 2021 seeks to provide a nurturing environment for the development and growth of strong, proactive, and innovative social enterprises as major vehicles for positive change in the Bangsamoro region. It proposes the formulation and adoption by the Bangsamoro government of the Bangsamoro Resilient and Inclusive Social Enterprises for Peace and Sustainable Development, what we call RISE, for Peace and Sustainable Development, built around the values of social justice, social equity, economic efficiency, and peace. The proposed measure, therefore, mandates a registration system, various incentives and benefits for social enterprises that includes resources for capacity building, for tax exemptions, and a diverse base of financing sources, even halal financing, marketing, research, and system developments, and the preferential right of social enterprises to government procurement. Moreover, the bill mandates the creation of the Bangsamoro Social Enterprise Council that shall work with the cooperatives and social enterprise authority on social enterprise programs and services in the region. Finally, the entrepreneur and the entrepreneurship have a special place in Islam. It is based on interwoven pillars. The first pillar is based on the definition of entrepreneurship, which is the pursuit of ethical opportunities. The second pillar is socio-economic or ethics, entrepreneurship that is guided by a set of Islamic norms and values. And the third is religious spiritual links of people to God with the ultimate objective of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These pillars of entrepreneurial characteristics from Islamic perspective create wealth and value generation, not for oneself, but to serve others. Thus, it is essential for us to enact a law that will empower social enterprises that are geared towards uplifting the conditions of the most vulnerable and marginalized Bangsamoro communities. These businesses for a social purpose are contextually aligned to the Bangsamoro region and its people. By supporting social enterprises and enabling cooperation between the government and the citizen, we can create a more inclusive, a more sustainable path in addressing the complex challenges of our time. This proposed measure my dear Speaker and colleagues, seeks to ensure that this can be achieved. With this, the passage of this bill, Mr. Speaker, members of the Parliament, is earnestly sought. Maraming salamat po and syukran.
Floor Leader.
Thank you very much. BT Bill number 157 is moved to be referred to the Committee on Trade, Industry, Tourism and Investment and to the Committee on Finance, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to refer BTA Parliament Bill number 157 to the Committee on Trade, Industry and
Tourism and Investment.
and Tourism and to the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management. There in a second, there being no objection, BTA Parliament Bill number 157 is referred to the said committee.
Last agenda, Mr. Speaker.
It's not yet the last agenda.
Last agenda in the second stage, Mr. Speaker, is BT Bill number 159. The Secretariat is directed to read BT Bill number 159.
The Secretariat is directed to read BTA Cabinet Bill number 159, the title thereof.
BTA Cabinet Bill number 159, an act extending the availability of the General Appropriations Act of the Bangsamoro to December 31, 2022, except personnel services, amending for the purpose Section 47 of the General Provisions of the General Appropriations Act of the Bangsamoro for years 2020 and 2021. The principal authors is the Government of the Day, and the co-authors are MPs Maysara D. Latif, Narciso C. U.E.K., Musa K.S. Jamla, Melanio U. Ulama, Ali O. Salik, Eddie M. Ali, Ahmad I. Abbas, Said M. Sheikh, Abdul Mumin A. Mujahid, Abdul Aziz M. Ismail, Sahi S. Uja, Ibrahim D. Ali, Bainon G. Caron, Aida M. Silongan, and Ali Osalik.
In view of that, Mr. Speaker, may we recognize the author, the government of the day, the representative of the government of the day, our very own the Minister of the Public Works and Highway, Member of Parliament, Edward U. Gira. Mr. Speaker, please recognize him.
The Minister of Public Works is recognized.
Thank you. To the Speaker and to esteemed colleague, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are nearing the end of 2021. We have a number of programs and activities under the Bangsamoro GAB. And GAB, which is the Bangsamoro Act, GAB of 2020, which is the Bangsamoro Act number 3, and the Bangsamoro Act number 15, which is the GAB 2021. Is still ongoing and remains to be implemented for the needs of the Bangsamoro. Our duty to the Bangsamoro was made more challenging when the pandemic caught us off guard beginning 2020. Needless to say, its devastating effects still lingers today. The pandemic remained to cause disruption in the 2021 operations of the government, caused limitations in the procurement, restrictions in the implementation, which include travel and further delay in the hiring of employees. As we are establishing the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in now extended transition period, it appears that we need more time to implement the programs and projects we have all planned for the Bangsamoro. It is with this in mind, the further extension of the 2020 General Appropriation Act of the Bangsamoro GAB and the extension of the 2021 GAB to 2022 is being solved. These extensions will help the economy recover and ensure that we deliver the 2020 and 2021 commitments of the Bangsamoro government with the new normal in mind. With the Bandanas ruling of the Supreme Court of the Philippines, we are all also aware that our 2022 block grant is significantly lower than of 2021. The lower amount makes the passage of this bill all the more important. With the BARM PTA extension, the Bangsamoro expects much from us. Let us thus exercise the autonomy we have both to attain economic self-sufficiency and genuine development. It is with this that the government of the day appeal for the immediate passage of these bills. Shukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Floor leader.
In view of that, Mr. Speaker, I so move that the said parliamentary cabinet bill number 159 be referred to the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management, Mr. Speaker.
Objection, Mr. Speaker.
There is an objection for the referral.
What is the objection for the referral?
Prior to the referral, Mr. Speaker, from the sponsorship speech, the members of Parliament are given the opportunity to ask a few questions from the sponsor, Mr. Speaker. If I may be allowed to ask some clarificatory questions, Mr. Speaker.
I think it's no
Mr.
longer.
Speaker, with the indulgence of our minority floor leader, if it is in our state of bills and there's a sponsorship speech, there is no interpellation. That is the hybrid improvement that the Committee on Rules has improved on our parliamentary rules, Mr. Speaker. Dati kasi pwede natin interpolate ang sponsorship speech na ngayon hindi na. If it is in the second stage, after the committee report and the submission of the committee, that's the time that you can interpolate any sponsorship speech, Mr. Speaker. With the indulgence of our minority floor leader, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I may?
Yes, it is no longer with the indulgence of the minority floor leader. I believe that portion of the previous rules has already been removed, where interpellations are allowed after a sponsorship speech, and this is clearly argued also by the majority floor leader. Therefore, we will have to deny your objection on this matter. Probably you can ask your question during the deliberations in the committee level Madam Minority Floor Leader. Deliberation.
Thank you. I have no problem with that, Mr. Speaker. We just have to make it clear that indeed that it is in the rules of procedure because as of the last bills that have been filed in our previous experience, a few questions, general questions are allowed. It was a subject of a bloody debate actually on how to undergo the second stage of the filing of bills, Mr. Speaker. But with that, Mr. Speaker, if that is the decision of the Speaker and the Majority Floor Leader, then I would yield, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Minority Floor Leader.
Thank you very
you
much.
can ask your questions during the deliberations on the
Thank you
committee
very
level.
much, Minority Floor Leader. Mr. Speaker, next in the agenda, committee report.
I still have to rule on the motion.
Yes, a motion that you told.
Yes.
Please.
There is a motion to
Refer.
Cabinet Bill number BTA Cabinet Bill number 159 to the Committee on Finance, Budget and Management. There is a second. There being no objection, BTA Cabinet Bill number 159 is referred to the said committee.
Mr. Speaker, next in our agenda is committee report, none, unfinished business, none, and the business for the day in which simple resolution was referred. Business for the day, Mr. Speaker.
1 minute suspension.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, before we recognize the author of the resolution that was referred to the business for the day, with the indulgence again of the author, may I be allowed to be one of the author of this mission? You know, this is my uncle-in-law, the uncle of my wife. That's why I not sponsor it because it will be self-serving. And I thank the lady from Land Order for sponsoring this mission, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, may be allowed to recognize, permission to recognize MP Maysara Dandamandate of the province of Land Order.
Yes, before I recognize her, may I also be associated with this bill. I know personally the subject matter of the resolution. Please include me as an author.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, the lady from Tugaya, Lanao del Sur is recognized.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. In addition, can the Secretariat include the names of MP Baintan Patuan Adil, Engineer, MP Attorney Rasul Mitmag, and of course our esteemed Deputy Speaker, MP Omar Sem, and also MP Rimbang and MP Abdul Mujahid.
Yeah, my name.
I am so sorry. Of course, the not so self-serving and not never self-serving Attorney Paisan Intago.
Yeah, the lady
Our
from Tugaya.
condolence to your family, sir.
The
and
lady from
Privado.
Tugaya Lanao del Sur is now recognized.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, this is a resolution that expressed our deepest condolence and profound sympathy to the bereaved family of former Provincial Environment and Natural Resources and no other than Engineer Pipalawan Naga, a environmental advocate and also founding member of the Save Lake Lanao movement in Lanao del Sur. Engineer Pipalawan Naga, or Uncle Pips, the former Provincial Environment and Natural Resources Officer of the Province of Lanao del Sur and Senior Advisor of Governor Mamintal Alonto Atyong Jr. on Environment, passed away last 19 November 2021. He served as a technical director and also former president of Save Lake Lanao Movement, SALAM, an organization that advocates for the protection and development of Lake Lanao as early as 30 years ago in 1990. He is a member of the Executive Committee of NPC, National Power Corporation, AGUS, monitoring team, a regional environment ambassador, a chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Lanao del Sur Council, a member of the Board of Trustees of Ateneo School of Government, and a member of Board of Trustees of the Foundation of the Philippine Environment. His sustained advocacy for the protection and development of Lake Lanao for its sustainable utilization to continuously provide stable power supply for Mindanao enabled him to propagate the lake's deteriorating environmental condition in several conferences, forums, and seminars. Their effort to protect the lake, the largest, today it is declared in the Philippines, the largest freshwater lake, and one of the most ancient 17 lakes in the world, from the environmental impacts of Agus Dam, resulted in the issuance of the following very important legislation. Number one, the Environment Certificate Compliance for NPC Agus Power Plant, Presidential Proclamation 871, creating the Lake Lanao Watershed, Memorandum Order 421 that created Lake Lanao Watershed Protection and Development. He was also the principal resource speaker for BTA Bill number 32 that seeks to create the Lanao Development Authority. And he supported and is one of the most staunch supporter of the bill. The untimely death of a true environment advocate who lived his life with integrity and simplicity is a great loss, not only to his family, but to the entire Bangsamoro people as well, particularly those whose lives he has touched. Now, Mr. Speaker, we would like to have this resolution be passed earnestly by the Bangsamoro Transition Authority as a tribute to a man that has lived his life for environment and for God, for his faith. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can I file an omnibus motion, Mr. Speaker, to immediately approve this resolution? May I move, Mr. Speaker, that we dispense with the interpellation, dispense with the amendment, and
May I say something about the matter? I think he is more known as an environmental advocate rather than as a
advocate of environment.
As a public officer.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, in that case, we will amend the title to expressing the deepest condolence and profound sympathy by adding the word Pipalawan Naga, an environmental advocate.
Kasi yung pag-empleyado niya sa provincial capital as Pedro is later na, but he's more known before as an advocate of environment.
He spent more long years in his advocacy rather than in government.
He works also in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So
yes.
We will...
Subject to style na lang yung Mr. Speaker. Para in order not to prolong the discussion, Mr. Speaker, we will subject it to style.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
MP Amir Mawalil, you're raising your hand.
Yes, the deputy vice chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, this is not a question. I'd just like to manifest na since a lot of the resolutions were passed honoring the contributions of those who passed away, known Moro professionals and personalities. Baka pong pwedeng meron tayong archiving of this particular mga resolutions honoring those. And of course, if there's a way that we can, in our archive, you mentioned about his governance and innovation report about the Lake Lanao, baka there's a possibility na magkaroon ng copy yung archiving division.
We will
natin
take
sa
note of that. We
Yes,
will take
but
note of that.
just to make sure that his contributions will not go in vain, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Secretariat is directed to take note of the manifestation of the gentleman from Tawi-Tawi.
Thank you for
strictly take note of it. Okay.
Thank you for the manifestation from the gentleman in PM Mawalul. In view of that, Mr. Speaker, I reiterate my omnibus motion to dispense with the interpellation and amendments and move for the approval of the said resolution subject to style, Mr. Speaker.
There's now a motion to dispense with the period of interpellation and debate, the period of amendment, and the
Move for
motion
the-
for the approval and adoption of this proposed resolution number 568, subject to style. It's been seconded. There being no objection, proposed resolution number 568 is approved and adopted by BTA Parliament.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Next thing in our agenda, Mr. Speaker, is other matters. There being no other matters, I move to adjourn until the next session in our legislative calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, there is session is adjourned until the next scheduled under our calendar.